Pickaxe.
Hello and welcome to this week's podcast recording of One Life Left, the radio show. I'm Simon Byron.
I am Steve Curran.
And after 498 of these, you would have thought we'd be slightly better at it than we are by now. But there we go. No guest this week, I'm afraid. Mainly my fault, but with enough gap in the excuse that it could be Steve's fault as well. I don't feel 100% to blame. We did manage to draw out the review section for 10 minutes, so look forward to that. But we should be getting some guests back on. We will work harder for you, the listeners.
I thought it was a super fun show. I really enjoyed it today. I always enjoy it, Simon. It was fun. And also, I still have my AI worksheet up. If you have anything else you would like to ask OpenAI.
Ask the AI. Well, I was going to say we are hurtling towards episode 500, which we only realised a couple of weeks ago, obviously, and we've been thinking about how we should celebrate it in a way that marks the occasion suitably, but also doesn't require a lot of effort. Also, I'm not around for when we would be doing the 500th show, so we might have to drop one in between those two there. Your typing is it was very loud during the show as well.
Oh, I'm sorry when I was typing that thing. I did try
the thing is, keen-eared listeners will be able to know what you were typing by the rhythm of your fingers.
I was typing literally the question you asked me to type, but they can verify that. Well, maybe we can remove that in post. But sorry, what I was just typing was propose a list of guests who might be appropriate for One Life Left's 500th episode. Just finished typing that now, and I'll set it going. It's thinking.
Well, of course it is.
I can confirm that the question has gone to
the AI
AI, and it has returned. It has returned 20 guests.
Okay,
some
have you got
of
their
whom...
email addresses?
All right, shall I quickly run through them?
Yeah, go on.
One, I won't number them. Sally Phillips, comedian and actress.
Okay.
John Cleese.
Can't say anything these days, can you?
Will Wright, game designer. Tim Schafer, Peter Molyneux, Jennifer Chen, Mike Bithell, Sean Murray, Adam Saltzman, Warren Spector, Greg Johnson, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. It's easy.
Steve Wiebe.
That'd be good.
Hideo Kojima.
Right.
Alex Blog.
Of course, Alex Blog. The AI's gone, look, I've got 19. I've got 19.
So, sorry, because it's explaining to me who all of these people are in brackets afterwards. So it says Alex Baldwin, brackets actor, currently. Okay. And it says Steve Wiebe, King of Kong record holder. For Alex Blog, it says industry expert, YouTuber and writer. So, I assume Alex Blog is a real person. Okay. Apologies, Alex Blog.
You say so, AI.
Yeah, no, there's 5 more.
Okay.
Roberta Williams.
Yep.
Rami Ishmael. Marcus Persson. Downer's YouTube content creator.
Wow.
Brenda Romero. And finally, Paul quotes the Pope. Rose. Is that what's going on there?
How many of those have we had on? Like we have spoken to a fair number of those, haven't we? Most of the industry ones, right?
Yeah. We've had.
Has Peter Molyneux ever been on?
He has. He was on with. He was on one of our GDC podcasts with Jack Attridge. At the same time, we haven't had Kojima, and we haven't had Marcus Persson. We have had Paul Rose. We have had Brenda Romero. We haven't had Steve Wiebe. We haven't had Alec Baldwin, but I think he's busy at the moment. We've had Warren Spector. Have we had Sean Murray?
I don't think so.
We have had other Hello Games people on. We've had Jennifer Chen, I think. Tim Schafer we've had. Will Wright we've had. John Cleese we haven't had.
I don't remember Tim Schafer. Was I there for that one? It might have been one of your super exclusive.
No, I thought we'd had him at GDC. Maybe we hadn't. Maybe.
I think I'd be a bit nervous around Tim Schafer.
What, given what happened?
Because I know someone who. Well, there's that. But also, I know someone who really doesn't like him, and I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why this person doesn't like him.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we should uncover that secret for the 500th episode. No, I was thinking though, perhaps for the filler, we could chop out some of the early appearances, because I believe we were the first radio show to have Mike Bithell on, weren't we?
And we'll be the last.
Well, there we go. We could clip out the celebrity run that we had, and then maybe return afterwards.
When you say
I mean the AI. Our AI intern. I don't know where the files are. Maybe that could be fun. But it would be good if anybody has got any stories or anecdotes, or you know things, ways in which One Life Left over the 500 years that we've been broadcasting has touched you, has hugged you, has kissed you, has pushed you over. We went through a period of that, didn't we?
We did. Maybe we should. So last week I got the AI to do the retrospective of One Life Left as if it was on a life well wasted. Right, it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe we should just reenact that, record that, and get the AI interstitial. I don't know. Plenty of things to do.
We are going to bring, as Anne's coming back when we record it, we need to figure out time to do that around all of our kids. When we started this, Steve, there were no kids. We were the kids.
We were. Now look at us.
Look at us now. We know more about Disney animated movies, musicals, than we should do. 500
years, and we are still only the second longest running radio show about video games. But we are the longest running radio show about video games that is in the English language.
So we'll be recording that in a couple of weeks, probably. It would be really good if you've got, what about any of the stupid things we did at Nottingham? If you've got memories of some stuff, what we did, do let us know, because we will be having a self-indulgent, celebratory episode in a couple of weeks. So please do email
team@onelifeleft.com.
Anything else to add, Steve?
That's it from me.
Here's the show.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're a video game radio show. My name is Steve Curran.
Hello to you. I'm Simon Byron.
How are you, Simon?
Very well, thank you, Steve. I've just completed some shed drilling, which you were privy to.
I didn't just see, I heard it.
I wasn't expecting, because where I was drilling, I can't see on the camera. I didn't think it extended quite that far. Anyway, that's done. That's been bothering me for a while. How are you?
I'm all right. I've had a very,
Don't
very
you ever
busy
just
week.
like to drill? Just drill something in?
Do you know what I liked? I liked the way when you said, I've been doing some drilling, and then you did an impression of the sound, and then you realised you could make the actual sound, because you've got the drill right there, haven't you?
I do have the drill, yeah.
Not going to sound it again for the listeners.
That's forwards, and that's backwards. Can you hear that?
It does sound different, doesn't it?
It does both ways.
Maybe we could do a play along at home quiz. Do one of them, but don't tell the listeners which it is, and let's make them guess.
I'm a man, Steve. Look, this is made by Bosch. That sounds masculine, doesn't it?
It does, Bosch.
Do you Bosch a screw in? You don't, do you? It should be called screw. Anyway, that's that done. It's actually so I've moved the shed around, as I said. Yeah, but you've been in here once, but there's just loads of stuff mounted on the wall. And I've now mounted a magnetic power bank charger. Don't know why, but it's there now. It's done.
Congratulations, Simon.
Thank you.
Good. Well, we are a video game radio show. We don't have a guest this week.
We don't. I did try.
You did the bare minimum, and I did
the bare minimum.
I did not bat that ball back over the net, and therefore let's say it's on me, technically.
No, sorry about that. It's funny, like fine. The week whizzes by. It gets to about Wednesday, I'm like, oh, blimey, I haven't got a guess.
It does.
Don't worry, I thought Steve's got a big list.
I do.
And then I got in touch and I heard nothing. I kept picking up Discord to see if I could hear the dialing tone. Is it still working?
I should have faxed you, shouldn't I? Yeah. So we'll find a guest for next week and the week after. And Simon, the big 500's coming up.
Oh, isn't it just? Yeah, I'm not around for that. Did you not see that? No,
I didn't see that.
I'm not there. I'm not around.
So it's just going to be a monologue then.
Well, I thought actually you could do you could end, well, not end, but you could do that one as you started without me.
What we should really do for the 500 is we obviously can't do episode 500 without you, but one of us, and probably not one of us, could make a highlights reel, couldn't they?
Yeah.
The best. Do you reckon the best of the last 500 or the best of the previous 499 episode would fill an hour?
if you played the Joe Cornish interview twice. Although we were terrible in that. I was too nervous.
Oh, good times. Anyway, here's to another 497 or whatever it is. By now, we are a video game radio show. We do not have a guest. We do have some reviews. I've played a couple of games this week. We have some letters, or a letter, I've seen that, and we should have some video game news, assuming you've looked at the news.
I believe. I have to say, I did struggle a little bit. Again, there's a lot of sort of not particularly upbeat news stories around at the moment, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's see how we get on, Steve, shall we?
Okay, good. All right, let's get on with it. Now, here is the news.
Video game news with Anne Scantleberry.
It's 7:05 on Monday the 30th of January. I'm not Anne Scantleberry, but this is the news. The studio behind the newly released version of GoldenEye 007 has claimed that some of the graphical and frame rate issues reported by players were present in the original game. Replying to a fan on Twitter, Canadian studio Code Mystics Inc., which helped port the N64 title, claimed that due to the emulation technology used for the release, the issues present were already in the original code. Side effect of it being emulation is it picks up a few graphics quirks of the original. GoldenEye was breaking new territory on the N64. The company also claimed that the frame rate was limited by the original ROM code. Exactly what I would say. GoldenEye was released for Switch and Xbox consoles on Thursday evening, and since then the Xbox version in particular has been met with criticism from fans and members of the game's media. Digital Foundry's John Linneman wrote on Twitter that there was weirdness going on with the Xbox version of the release in a tweet comparing the Xbox version with the N64 original. In a reply to a reader, Linneman reiterated his criticism that the release has a lot of issues with wobbling vertices and texture seems to. Code Mystics eventually responded, again claiming the issues were authentic to the N64 game. For better or worse, the occasional seams and Z fighting are authentic. Not an emulation glitch, it's just easier to see in HD. But glitches were checked against a real N64 during development. Again, that's what I'd say. What remains were there too, just blurrier. So careful what you wish for, Steve. Careful what you wish for. Lots of people...
Sorry. No, after you.
No, after you, sir.
Okay. I was going to say there are two sides to this, aren't there? There's one which is the never go back thing, that games live on in our memory after we've played them in a more positive fashion than they may be, when you go back. And that's what I've seen. Most of the reception has been a lot from people who weren't around at the launch of the N64 version and have heard a lot from their parents telling them this is the game, and they've gone in and played it and gone, what? How do you control this mess? And it looks terrible, and are you kidding me? And then, some older people have gone back as well and gone, yeah, but you don't get it. It was of its time. And you miss that context. The second thing is the thing that was mentioned in the news story, which is the benefit of the cathode ray televisions that were around at the time. They hid an awful lot of sins, which are, very much revealed when you run the same code in HD.
Yes, lots of people were excited about this dropping. It's been rumoured for ages and ages and ages, and now it's here. People are like, what? Sorry, I should mention that, of course, this story is from videogameschronicle.com, where all of our news comes from this evening. Thank you to Jordan Midler for that story. Have you played it on Xbox or N64, Steve, since the re-release?
I have not. I was actually, during that news story, going to pick up my broadcasting equipment and go over to my Switch, grab it, and see if I could get it by the time we get to the review section, because I thought, hold on, maybe Simon's going to review that, and I can counter his review with some research in the next 40 minutes. Have you played it?
I've not, no. Okay. I don't... it's part of the expansion pass, isn't it, on the N64? I believe.
Yeah, which I have and you don't, because you
I don't anymore.
Bought Mario Kart.
Yes, I believe that's the case.
Yeah,
I don't have Game Pass either anymore, Steve. What is going on?
Well, I don't know what is going on. What I've heard is that one of the major complaints about it from a lot of people has been the default controls suck. I assume the default controls are authentic to the N64 version. Now, at the time, people were still trying to work out how to navigate in first person on a console. So the controls on the N64 version, and obviously the N64 joypad, is a bit weird, wasn't it? So controls very different to the modern day. I believe there's a control system which is closer. So that's the first port of call, is to switch that. But yeah, of course you're going to have to fight your way through lots of things that by now have been bettered. It was the first, though. First thing isn't always the best, is it?
Indeed not, Steve. Indeed not. The longest running is.
Or second longest running, as I've recently found out. Time for news story 2. Oh, hold on.
Certainly an advert for the longest running being the best, as I was referencing. Hi-Fi Rush, the next game from Tango Gameworks, has been announced, and it's out today. This was written on Wednesday or Thursday, 25th of January. Anyway, revealed during Xbox and Bethesda's Developer Direct, the game will release on Xbox Series consoles, Xbox Game Pass and PC later on Wednesday. There you go. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm action game in which the aim is to time attacks to the beat in order to do more damage. You play as Chai, a wannabe rock star and victim of a corporate experiment who can feel the rhythm of the world pulsing to the game soundtrack, according to the game's reveal video. Hi-Fi Rush features a killer mixtape of both licensed and original songs to tap your toes, or if you prefer, bang your head to, each synced to their own levels in the game, a press release adds. The maladjusted megacorp after Chai would sooner swallow nails than let a single supposed defect ruin their bottom line. With the help of some newfound allies, however, Chai may just have what it takes to rumble his way up the corporate ladder, with each department culminating in a cinematic face-off with its boss, complete with their own music track. So this is from the Ghostwire Tokyo developer, Steve, and it shadow dropped on Wednesday. No one knew anything about this game Wednesday morning, no one outside of Microsoft and Bethesda, I should say. And yet, by the end of Wednesday, people were playing it. What on earth is going on?
It's a massive shadow drop, and by massive I mean 15 gigabytes, which is why it's not going to be in this week's review section, at least from me, because I thought, I'm going to play that, and then I thought I'm not going to be able to download that in the time it's going to take that I have free in order to play
Wednesday?
Games. No, from last night when I thought I better play some games for one life left tomorrow. So have you played it yet?
I have played it, yes. I played the opening level today. So, consider this a review in progress during the news, whatever next. It's really, really good. Really good. It's just toe-tappingly excellent. It's got, a style and substance to back that style up. The world vibrates to the beats. It's really cool. I've not got past the first boss yet. I haven't encountered the first boss, I should say. It's not me being rubbish at games for once. That will come shortly, I'd imagine. But it's just brilliant.
Yeah, the animation looks fantastic on it. The style, like that I've seen in the videos, and Why would you shadow drop something like this, Simon?
Well, that's been the indie debate this week, Steve, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Whether it's good or bad to shadow drop, because it looks like the game's doing very well. It's in Game Pass, so lots of people can access it that way. But it's in the top 10, I think, on Steam, global bestsellers. So something worked then. And so lots of people are saying, "Oh, well, I think PC Gamer did a piece yesterday or today, which said that this proved that people should think more about doing this sort of thing." Well, let me tell you, they should not.
No.
There is obviously, if you have the prominence and the heft of Microsoft and Bethesda, you have a developer showcase, which you aren't paying money to participate in. I mean, obviously there will be some money going into it, and some costs associated, but it's not like Jeff's Awards. So they are able to put on this broadcast and throw their might behind it, which meant that lots of people would write about it. Now, would they have written about Hi-Fi Rush anyway? They would, because it's from the studio that did Tokyo Ghostwire. And so, it's Bethesda. It has some heritage. That's what the media tend to write about, things that are popular or going to be popular. It's very difficult for things to break into that if they don't have anything behind them. So did they need to do it? No. Was it an interesting way of doing it? Certainly. But could everybody else do it? No.
But also, if everybody else did it, then it ceases to become an interesting way of doing things. Like, it's one of those tricks that works the first time someone does it, but then it's increasingly less successful, like all of the new release strategies that drop every so often. So there's your answer, PC Gamer.
Yeah, I mean, what was impressive was that I think there were some rumours of the name before the event. A couple of people leaked that Hi-Fi Rush was going to be the studio's next game, but absolutely nobody had any idea. The fact that they kept it so quiet, particularly as they were working with digital stores, which can prove to be a challenge sometimes. To their credit, and it's really good. And it's what was weird, Steve. It's £25. Now, wow. Haven't they said before they're going to start charging $70? Maybe they've got the exchange rate wrong, like what happened in Argentina this week.
I mean, I say wow in the context of the most recent game price I looked at was Forspoken, which was £65.
65 big ones? I know. That's the sort of a price that would have the heroine of the game making some smart quip, wouldn't it?
Very good. News story number 3.
I wasn't ready for that. Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann has said the studio has moved on from the Uncharted series and could do the same with The Last of Us, should it decide not to proceed with a third mainline series entry. The Last of Us series has sold over 37 million copies since its debut in 2013 and is currently in the spotlight thanks to the successful launch of an HBO TV adaptation this month. Naughty Dog is also developing a standalone Last of Us multiplayer, which will include its own story and a new cast of characters. Despite the franchise's commercial and critical success, Druckmann has claimed that Naughty Dog's parent company, Sony, wouldn't pressure the company into continuing the story of Ellie and Abby that was told in 2020's Last of Us Part 2. He told BuzzFeed that if the studio came up with a compelling story for Part 3 and is passionate about the project, it will make it. If not, it might decide to move on from the series. Like it has chosen to do with its other blockbuster franchise, Uncharted. I know there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3 and whether that will be a thing or not, he said. All I can say is, at Naughty Dog, we're very, very privileged that our publisher is Sony, which means Sony funds our games, supports us, and we're owned by Sony. They've supported us every step of the way to follow our passions, meaning that just because something is successful, people think there's all this pressure and we have to make a sequel. That's not the case.
For now.
Might. Everybody's raving about the TV show. Steve, have you tuned in?
I have not seen it. I've heard good things from my friends who are interested in video games and care about The Last of Us. And I've heard mixed things from people who do not. Like, some people absolutely love it, and a couple of people have said they're not so keen.
Well, thanks to the... this is a bonus news story. Thanks to the TV show, sales of The Last of Us Part 1 rose more than 230% in the UK after the TV show debut. I mean, that sounds like a lot, Steve, doesn't it?
It does. People care a lot about The Last of Us, and I know this. Did I mention this last week? We did Maraoke a week and a day ago, and at Maraoke, which was excellent, I debuted a new fashion item that's available on the Maraoke merch store. You can find that at hello.marao.ke. That's marao.ke, a Kenyan domain. We have a T-shirt to go with one of our songs, and it says "The Last of Us" in the Last of Us font. And then below that, there's a very small Venga bus, and below that it says "is rubbish." So basically, it says very clearly, "The Last of Us is rubbish." I was having a nice time at Maraoke, and someone stopped me upstairs. They said, "I just want to say, that's the worst T-shirt I've ever seen in my whole life."
Whoa! They should have seen some of your other ones.
I know. It's like,
over the years.
And, there's a whole range of terrible T-shirts available on hello.marao.ke. So, that was excellent. And then I got to debate him via the medium of song, or at least by singing the Venga Boys' "We Like to Party" at him. Maybe 5 minutes later. You can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that, can you?
No. I couldn't care less whether there's a Last of Us 3, but I would bet money that there's going to be.
This is for you, Steve. Gameloft has announced Disney Dreamlight Valley's early 2023 content roadmap. The game's next... Are you ready, Steve, for this? The game's next major update... I don't know what you wish for. The game's next major update will launch in February, introducing Mirabelle from Encanto and Olaf from Frozen as new characters. It will also extend the main story, explore the Frosted Heights biome, and add a new star path, brackets Dreamlight Valley's Battle Pass equivalent, themed around Disney's 100th anniversary. In April, the game will add a new realm from The Lion King and a fresh chapter in the form of Simba. Scar was introduced in the game's first major update last October. The April update's Star Path will be themed around Disney parks. We can already imagine how cool it can be to customise your valley so it can look like a little like a park. Disney Dreamlight Valley lead producer Mania Castday told Polygon, "You can't fully change your valley into a Disney theme park, but you'll be able to decorate it with things from the parks. See, things from the parks." How does that sound to you?
Like stalls that sell food,
things from the park.
Just loads of people milling around, so you can't really get anywhere. Queues, I don't know. I love that game.
Still playing it, are you?
No, not at all, because, as I've said previously, my daughter's refused to go on with it because she's scared of meeting Ursula in the beach area. I think it's really, really impressively produced game. Very pro the introduction of Mirabelle. Encanto is an excellent film. Less interested in the arrival of Olaf, but I will see neither of those characters.
What's your favourite Encanto song?
The one.
Which one is it?
Welcome to the family.
Family Madrigal. You're wrong.
Oh, okay. What's yours? What's your favourite?
It's got to be Surface Pressure, isn't it?
Very good as well.
Yeah,
very good.
It's a good film, isn't it?
It's an excellent film.
Listen to us, old men. We've got kids, new listeners. We aren't watching Disney films. I exclusively for our own benefit. I almost went to see Boss Baby 2 today, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I didn't. We went and played mini golf instead.
We watched, I say that, my partner and my daughter watched Babe today.
Okay.
And in an early scene, the farmer brings out a shotgun to shoot, spoiler warning, Babe. And my daughter said, What's that? And my partner, thinking fast, went, "I think it's a trumpet." and then the farmer's wife walks in and says, "What are you doing with that shotgun?"
Excellent.
And she, I must have been wrong. It's not a trumpet. So, Yeah, Dreamlight Valley is very, very good, but I would still recommend you introduce your children to Animal Crossing instead, because it's a more responsible game. Fewer smartly produced elements of battle pass content and that kind of grinding, and more metered out day-to-day play. That said, I would still be playing Disney Dreamlight Valley if it weren't for my child's abject fear of the beach.
Sega appears to be teasing a new instalment of its classic Japanese arcade and Dreamcast game, Cosmic Smash. On Monday, the company launched a mysterious teaser site, c-smashvrs.com. Along with social media accounts with the profile name c-smashvrs, it wrote, I see forming. Given the name of the URL, it's possible the project being teased is for VR. Wolfenwood, the British studio behind VR title The Last Worker, that's very good, also retweeted the teaser site on Monday, along with several of its developers. Kenichi, the Japanese DJ best known by video game fans for his music featured in another 2001 Sega game, Rez, also shared the teaser. Cosmic Smash was released in arcades and Dreamcast in 2001 and described as a futuristic combination of squash and breakout. The game places players in a series of rooms filled with blocks and arms them with a racket. The aim is to use the racket to smack balls off the blocks to make them all disappear. Players can pull off special smashes to help them clear the blocks quicker, but that comes with a trade-off of making the ball move faster. The story goes on. The story continues, but the little new is added.
Two games I wanted to make 5 or 6 years ago when I was playing around with VR dev. One was Fantavision in VR. That's coming. And two was Cosmic Smash in VR, and that is conceivably coming. So that's excellent news. I'd love to play both of them. Loved Cosmic Smash because it's very, very simple game to play, but as fun as Breakout is, which is also super, super fun. So yeah, I'm excited about both of those.
Good. And how do we feel about this coordinated teaser strategy of putting half a website up and then lots of corporate accounts going side eyes at it and stuff? Just makes me annoyed.
What was the word you used in the story that said possibly or whatever?
I'm disgusted.
Yeah, you might as well announce it rather than this, but I get you want to do tiers of your PR and teasing and blah, blah, blah. It's coming. Everybody knows it's coming. Now you get to announce it properly and we get to pretend to be excited about it. I am actually excited. I'm just not excited about the way it's being announced. It's working. It's working. Any more news stories?
One more late coming news story, Steve. The Nintendo Switch eShop page for Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp has been updated, potentially indicating that a new release date for the long-delayed game could be imminent. According to a user in Famiboards, that's a website, the game's eShop page has been updated, suggesting the pre-orders for the game could soon go live once again. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's eShop page recently received a similar update. Originally scheduled for release last year, Nintendo delayed the release of Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Despite the continuation of the war, it seems that Nintendo may be preparing to finally release the game. Last year, a player who pre-ordered the game when it was initially for sale managed to get access and play it early. According to the user, they had preloaded the game on the Nintendo Switch Lite prior to the game's delay, and then having not connected to the internet since the preload, seemingly worked around Nintendo's rescheduling, as the preload was no longer able to update to the new release date. The original Advance was released on the Game Boy Advance in 2001 and was developed by Intelligent Systems. So, Steve, that's a story within the last 2 hours. That's how current we are. And in the last 2 hours, I mean, when you're hearing this on the radio on Monday, I mean yesterday, 26 hours ago.
So, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because if you make that decision to pull the game's release because of a conflict, then you are kind of locked in to not releasing until that conflict is over, and that conflict shows no sign of ending. And so,
did they ever say that was why they'd done it?
I thought they had, but maybe they hadn't. I mean, that was certainly the read, and the read right now, if that is the read originally, is that it slipped down the news headlines.
Yeah, so it was. It was recent world events was what they said.
People aren't talking about it so much. Therefore, it's okay to do the thing that we thought wasn't okay. when people were talking about it, which is kind of bleak, isn't it? That said, there are countless games that portray war more vividly being released every day, and it also feels somewhat unfair that Advance Wars has bound itself to that decision. It's tough.
Yep, it is tough. But as you say, just look at the Steam pages for the war games that are up there at the moment.
Absolutely. That's interesting. The hack, though, I hadn't heard about that. It makes sense, I guess. Maybe the code is automatically tied into release on that date, and if you don't, you're pulling faces.
I don't
believe it.
I don't believe it. No. Whenever I've tried to play a preload early, you have to connect to the internet. I don't think it's ever going to go, oh, actually, because if you didn't, then why don't we all just preload
fast forward our system clocks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good point. All right, well, we're sceptical. We're one life left. That's the end of our news section. Thanks, Simon.
One life left. Video game news with Anne Scantleberry.
We are One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. Another consequence of Dreamlight Valley not capturing my daughter's attention, or at least scaring her off, is that she's currently refusing to do a review of it. When pressed on this, she said, because doing reviews is boring. So we don't have a feature in this slot, but there is something I wanted to talk to you about, Simon, which is some work that I've been doing. Over the last couple of weeks, we talked last week about AI, didn't we? And we had our AI generated feature, and the week before, I think we did a little bit of exploration on the podcast intro as well. So we've chatted about it. I've been making some toys on my own. I learned Python. Did I mention that before? I learned Python.
You have done.
Yeah,
well, certainly to me.
It's been so exciting. And I made a little quiz game. Did I talk about that?
You've told me. I'm not sure you've told the listeners.
I haven't. I don't think I have. So I've made a quiz game, and I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we're going to release something quite soon. Maybe going to put that out, but
shadow drop it.
Shadow drop it. Should shadow drop it? Shouldn't I? Well, no, I can't now because I've talked about it. Edit this out of the podcast.
Well, also, you've not actually given it a release date either, so I think you can just go, and it's available now.
Well, it's not available now.
It's not available now.
It will be available soon-ish, I hope. And it's
what
just
formats?
It'll be on the web, so it'll be playable on mobile and on PC. And it's just
Why were you being deliberately vague about this, Steve?
I'm not. I just literally told you the answer.
On the web, so you'll be able to play it on mobile?
Yeah, on both, on web and PC. It's an HTML5 game. It's a quiz.
So will you be able to download it from the stores?
No, you'll be able to go to a website, a URL, and play it. Okay, sorry. Well, you will be able to. Anyway, none of that's important. It's very simple daily quiz generated with AI. But I did earlier with experimenting. I generated a quiz that will generate a quiz on anything you want. Like literally anything in the world. And it will ask you multiple choice questions about anything. And I set that up to ask you to do a quiz on One Life Left. And I thought I could ask you some of the questions right now and see how well you do. How many points you get.
It sounds terrifying, Steve. You know, I'm not good. I don't operate under pressure.
Okay. Well, here we go. So question 1. What is the station name for that One Life Left broadcasts on? Is it A, Radio 2, B, BBC West London, C, Channel 3, or D, Resonance FM?
Well, ultimately, it's none of those, is it, Steve? It's Resonance FM, of course.
It's Resonance FM. Well done. That, if you answered D, you would get 10 points in the quiz, so well done, Simon. Play along at home, see how well you do. Okay. Question 2. What is the name of the host of the One Life Left radio show? Is it A, Dave Grohl, B, Stephen Hawking, C, Simon Smith, or D, Steve Curran?
That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's what it's doing there is it's giving you some plausible answers, isn't it?
It is very clever. Very, very, very clever.
We're all fully aware, Steve, that the host is Steve Curran.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Question 3, drilling in a bit more here. You've got 20 points, by the way.
Come on.
What video game did the team play on Series 4, Episode 1 of the One Life Left radio show? Is it A, Mario Kart, B, Saints Row 4, C, Rayman Origins, or D, Need for Speed Most Wanted?
Crikey.
Deep cut.
Did we advertise our shows differently then? Features an in-depth review of Mario Kart. I guess Mario Kart.
Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
That's correct. According to the AI quiz, that's another 10 points for Simon. All right.
Do you remember that? Do you remember what that's going on about?
Of course not. Absolutely not. Okay. So 30 points so far. Okay. Question 4. What is the title of the book co-written by Steve Curran and Anne Scantlebury? Is it A, Syntax Error, B, Antiques Roadshow, C, Punk Rock Football, or D, Trenchless Burial?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? Because you kept that quiet.
I did.
I'm going to say syntax error.
You're correct. Well done.
Thank you.
Again, according to the AI, Anne and I wrote a book called Syntax Error, 40 points. All right. Question 5. What is the name of the occasional comedy feature included on the One Life Left radio show? Is it A, The One Night Stand, B, The 4PMer Boys, C, The Trash Bags, or D, Antagonista?
God, they're excellent titles, though, aren't they? What? Say those again. The 4 p.m. boys. Come on, when it all goes off at 4 p.m.
It is. What are you going for?
Well, hey, Antagonista.
Unfortunately, it's the 4PMer Boys, still on 40 points. Okay, we'll do a couple more. Question 5.
Sorry, that's not true, is it?
That is not true. No, completely made up.
I'm just double checking that. Yeah.
All right. What is the catchphrase of the One Life Left radio show? Is it A, live from London, B, game over, man, C, one more time, or D, 2 lives left?
I want to use them all now. Wouldn't it be excellent if our catchphrase was 2 lives left? Hi, we're 1 life left, 2 lives left. It's 2 lives left, obviously.
It is not, unfortunately. It is live from London. Okay. Finally. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that you're releasing a game based on this.
Well, no. So I'll return to that in a second. Finally, what colour was the bear that Scott used to deliver traffic updates on the One Life Left podcast? Was it blue, yellow, pink, or purple?
It was blue.
It was blue. Well done.
It was blue. We all remember Scott's bear when we used to throw to the travel. Wow.
Good times. So, yeah, it's a really impressive piece of technology, this thing. It is, because it makes up completely every one of those questions to someone who doesn't actually listen to One Life Left. Sounds plausible, right?
Oh, I see. Right, but it's not making real quizzes because some of the answers are all wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, some of the answers are wrong. Some of the questions are completely, wrong. They're based on an alternative history of One Life Left. But you wouldn't know that.
Good though.
You wouldn't know that. It is amazing. So obviously that experiment to make a quiz based around that was, on the one hand, it's like, this is really impressive, and on the other hand, it's completely useless. The actual quiz that I'm going to put out in a couple of weeks, I hope, is more reliable, although still not 100%, which is why I'll probably drop it.
But if you make people earn currency through correct answers, gamble them on wrong answers, and actually what you're asking is what you're not answering whether it's right or wrong, but what is the AI? What does the AI think? Well, this is how we'll beat the robots.
So I did think about doing that. So you are crowdsourcing the correct answer, and if the correct answer is there is no correct answer, then everyone gets some points or something. The problem you've got is that the AI itself does not know. You cannot ask it whether it's making that up or not. It thinks that's all real.
We need to find out more about. We ask more about Scott. See whether it will double down.
All right, maybe
his travel bear.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll ask it that at some point during the rest of the show. But I think it's probably time for the letters.
Email, messages, and forward BCC. One Life letters.
Chris Conroy writes, what in the wide world of... Dear team and SSG, our local junior school recently had a trip to London's premier army surplus store, the Imperial War Museum, where they are kind enough to take photos of the kids so they can be shared on newsletters and whatnot. What the school doesn't seem to have realised is that the museum's photos are sponsored by Wargaming, so the little cherubs are grinning away under a logo of the angry house simming, extravagant press junket funding, whale magnets, world of tanks. I don't have the heart to tell them. What sneaky marketing practices have you seen slip by undetected in unusual places? When was the last time someone who should really know better failed to spot a violent game hiding in plain sight? Your Caro de Combattimento correspondent, Chris Conroy. He says, it turns out it's only a Peggy 7 wargaming. Kids today, eh? He then thanks Wikipedia for his sign-off. Sneaky marketing messages, Steve. You've got a story about that, don't you?
Do I? What?
Well, just
prompt
me to the incident that prompted everybody to leave Edge.
Was that a sneaky marketing message, or was that was
essentially? Well, it was a promoting a violent game in front of kids.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that part. Oh yeah, sorry. I was reflecting on the time we gave GTA 3 the wrong score.
You've got a troubled history with GTA, Steve, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's it was sort of tied up in the history of that because we were already in a fractious relationship with Rockstar at the time, and prior to that, because they'd held back the code of GTA 3 from Edge, which resulted in us giving it a one-page review, which resulted it in the game being on a magazine template which had the score 6 out of 10 written as a placeholder at the bottom of the page, which resulted in Edge giving GTA 3 6 out of 10 and then apologising for it in the next month and saying it should have been an 8 in the small print, which probably would have made people angry enough as it stood. But yeah, as I recall, and this was 20 years ago now, you're talking about Manhunt, right?
Oh, sorry, Steve. Yes, it wasn't GTA. Yes, you're right. It was Manhunt's cover on Games Master.
Yeah, so Manhunt had secured a cover for Games Master. Games Master, in my opinion, was a magazine that was aimed at younger teenagers at best, and Manhunt was an 18-rated game. And I wrote a column about that. It didn't go down very well.
Well, you can't say anything in those days, can you?
Not if you want to stay at the magazine that you write. Yeah. It did not result in us getting fired, but it did result in ultimately most of the staff thinking this may have outgrown our roles at this magazine. Yeah, I mean, I guess would you consider that an underhand marketing tactic, or was it just what everyone did back then?
Well, it's difficult to imagine that sort of thing happening now, isn't it? Or being allowed to happen now.
Well, because there are no magazines anymore.
Well,
so
that's quite rightly, yeah. But sorry, not quite rightly. There aren't any magazines. Quite rightly, but there are things in place that would stop that. But yeah, I mean, back then it was people seemed very happy to market to an audience that was underage. Yeah, which was. That was the most high-profile example of it back then. It's obviously not the same as what Wargaming's doing, Peggy 7, at the Imperial War Museum. But again, having touched on Advance Wars, this does feel a bit too close to home, really, doesn't it?
So, just to sort of sidestep for a second, are there games publications aimed at younger teenagers now, because if you look at something like, the websites that have essentially taken over from those magazines, you wouldn't say they were aimed at kids, right? They're aimed at people who play games, which is not that. But are there specific websites that are aimed at that demographic anymore?
Not website. In terms of magazines, they are generally sort of effectively one-shots in supermarkets based on Fortnite and stuff like that. So they're not 13 issues a year. No, and they tend to come with toys on them. I think I haven't picked one up in ages, so I'm probably getting this all entirely wrong. Websites, no, they're all on TikTok these days, aren't they? What it is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your letter, Chris. Did we have any more?
Not on the email. Were there any in the Discord?
Well, I think one was just posted. Ed writes, "Dear One Life Left team, how long until an AI gets STE cancelled?" It's a matter of hours, perhaps. Actually, I have just asked the AI about Scott and his travel bear. We'll have the answer. We'll have the answer after a couple of jingles. That's all the letters. If you want to write to One Life Left, you can do so by emailing
team@onelifeleft.com
or by popping your message in the Discord. We are One Life Left. We're broadcasting on Resonance 104.4 FM, and we're also a podcast available at www.onelifeleft.com, where you can read the show notes put together by our under-caretaker, Phil. You can also find a link to the Discord there or at our link site at hello.onelifeleft.com. Simon, I did talk, as requested, to the AI. And I have some more information about Scott and his travel bear. It says here, Scott and his travel bear was a regular feature that appeared on the One Life Left radio show. Led by the station's host, Steve Curran, Scott and his travel bear was an ongoing travel documentary of sorts, where the bear, Plunger Bear, would travel to exotic locales with Curran in tow. After a brief intro, Scott and Plunger Bear would set off on their journey, encountering all sorts of adventures, both good and bad. Highlights included stops in Italy, Mexico, Scotland, and the United States. Throughout their travels, they came across some interesting locales, people, and perspectives that helped to ultimately shape their outlook on the world and in each other. The feature ultimately ended after it became too expensive for Curran to maintain the pace of the trips, but it provided a unique and often funny look into the world of travel.
Well, you can tell it's not true if they're saying it's often funny. It's a shame. I was hoping that the AI would have written the end of that story, the sort of, that there was an accident live on air, like sort of Noel Edmonds. Well, I mean, it's certainly plausible, isn't it? You love that bear.
I did love that bear. I love that bear, and it's just a shame we had to put him in storage. Maybe we should wheel him out for episode 500. Yeah. I should ask the AI what to do for episode 500, shouldn't I? That'd be good use of modern-day technology, but probably won't follow the instructions to the letter unless I want to get cancelled. Simon, I'm aware that we're running quite ahead of schedule at the moment. Got 40 minutes to go. Do you have 40 minutes worth of reviews? Because otherwise we're going to have to do a Simon Byron's Fast 5.
Well, how long can I talk about Far Cry 4 for, Steve?
Shall we find out? Here we go. It's time for the reviews. Simon, how long can you talk about Far Cry 4 for?
Well, who would have thought I would be here in a shed in the middle of winter in the year 2023 playing a game that I believe came out on Xbox 360.
Wikipedia describes Far Cry 4 as...
That's right. I don't know. I've spent far too much in the Steam sales recently. I don't know what has got into me. My backlog grows, and yet still I buy games. And Ubisoft has been bringing its games to Steam. And I own Far Cry 6 on Ubisoft Connect, which I bought at launch because Dexter wanted to play it. And I was like, okay, I wonder how that runs on the Steam Deck. Of course, it's not on Steam at the moment. They've just brought Watch Dogs Legions to Steam, which costs £10. But even at £10 Steam, I believe it's not worth playing. Anyway, so I started poking around the Ubiverse, and I thought, I've never really played Far Cry 4. I got quite far in Far Cry 5 until Dexter accidentally wiped my save. And so that meant I was too far in to be bothered to start playing it again, which is why I was quite enjoying it. So I wondered how it would work on the Steam Deck. This is the one that's set in the Himalayas, where you play a man who is tasked with delivering his mother's ashes to a place in Kirat, in the Himalayas, and you meet the man. He's this very bad man, Steve, like really naughty right at the start. You can tell then it's not going to be a good holiday. And then after a lengthy cutscene that you cannot skip, also I discovered that because of the game's fairly relaxed attitude to sort of, save states. Many games these days, you have quite a confidence on knowing where you're going to pick back up. But with Far Cry, oh no. Far Cry 4, certainly. So I had to replay the introduction 3 times to eventually get to a place where I can save properly. And off you go. And it's full of Far Cry fun. Opening up towers, uncovering elements of the map, choosing missions to do, races to have. I'm not hugely familiar with the world of Far Cry, so I can't tell you how common this sort of thing is, but loads of animals in it who really are really very aggressive. The honey badger, Steve, if you'd have asked me a few weeks ago whether I had strong feelings about a honey badger, I probably would have said no, but now they're my least favourite animal.
Far Cry series, I know very little about, right? I think I've played the intro to one of them.
4 times.
Maybe. And, my impression of them is that they are an open world video game in a jungle with lots and lots of shooting. More shooting than you'd expect.
Loads of shooting that you'd expect on a holiday.
Yeah, just more,
Or for a funeral. I'm having a. I've reached that stage now where I'm like, should I just stop playing this? Because I'm unlikely to finish it, but I am quite enjoying it. It looks good. It's full of those emergent moments where you can throw bait, and those animals, you can encourage them to go and attack all of the enemies and stuff, and that's quite good fun. And the first time you see an elephant roar into an encampment and take everybody out, Steve, it's laugh out loud funny. So it's all right. It's a game from the past. It holds up pretty well. Plays well on the Steam Deck. 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I've also been playing, and this will surprise you. A game called As Dusk Falls. Have you heard of this?
As Dusk Falls, I have not heard of As Dusk Falls.
So we're quite Microsoft heavy this week's show. This is a Microsoft Studios game. It came out last year. It is an interactive drama, which starts off. I'm probably like sort of chapter 4 in it at the moment, but two families collide on one eventful evening, and it's full of choices and quick time events and stuff like that. So it's a Telltale game in everything but name, but sort of super stylized static visuals over moving backgrounds. To my surprise, I'm finding it really engaging. We had a pretty tense situation in a motel recently, and I'm playing it like I did with Heavy Rain, which is, make a choice to stick with it and see what happens. And I already think I've made the wrong decision, but I'm ploughing on. It's good. It's super tense. I'm finding it very well written. It's holding my attention, and I don't normally like these games. It's super cheap at the moment. I think it's like £8. and I would give it 7 out of 10.
So I wanted to play that game that was in the news story.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Thank you, Hi-Fi Rush. Couldn't because it was 15 gigabytes. Looked for something smaller and looked at Steam. What it said? Players like you playing these games.
You know what you like, Steve?
I like games where you push crates around, and so, but not The Last of Us. And so I ended up playing 2 games where you push crates around. One of them is called Altered. In Altered, so the game genre is the Sokoban genre. Players will be familiar with the classic thing: grid-based, top-down, push a crate. Try and get a crate onto a X. I pushed the crate too close to the wall. I'll rewind time. Very, very well-defined genre. My favourite game in that genre is Stephen's Sausage Roll. And most times, the ones that do well at least are games like that, but with a little bit of a twist. So the twist in Altered is that your box can grow arms. So you're not your box. Your sort of avatar can have like a telescopic arm, either shooting out from the left or the right, and at the same time, either the up or down, or the north or south, or the east and west. Basically, as you move around, you can use those telescopic arms to support you, so you're no longer on the platform. You're not supported on anything, and you use that, and you use the clever sort of extending of these arms and retracting them to push things around and to move yourself around the levels as well. Really, really nicely thought through, different take on the original system. I liked it. It won't blow you away. If you like Soccerman games, you'll like this because it's slightly different. I did appreciate the visual style. It's just slightly weird as well. So 7 out of 10 for that. I also played a game called SquishCraft. And
okay,
if you thought the visual style for Altered was weird, then look at the cover of SquishCraft, Simon.
Steve, you shouldn't be playing games like that.
What are you seeing there?
Well, it's quite blurry, but it's a man's face.
Yeah, it's just lots of a dude's face. I assume that's the developer who has just sort of very quickly cropped his face out and just pasted it loads, and then written SquishCraft across the top of the Steam splash screen. The graphics are, I want to say, poor. I would describe them as very quickly put together, maybe of a style, I don't know. But the mechanic's really, really clever. It's Soccerman, but when you push crates into each other, they merge, they squish. So the whole mechanic is squishing crates together and using the properties of the squished crates to move those crates around the level. So you might squish a crate that can move right when you press a button into another crate, and then step on the button that moves both of those squished crates now right out of the hole. Oh my goodness, it's one of the hardest games I have ever played. That's hyperbole. We're a radio show. We're allowed to do that. What I'm saying is, it's pretty hard. But those games are kind of meant to... It's the sort of thing where you stare at it for ages, a bit like Stephen's Sausage Roll, and think, I'm never going to solve this. And then either through trial and error or through a moment of breakthrough where you usually end up cursing the developer at the end, you're like, yeah, that's clever and I get it, and it looks, I think some people would say it looks appalling. This radio show will say it looks interesting or unique, perhaps, but it is mechanically really smart. It's very, 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 very cheap as well, so give it a go if you like that sort of thing. 7 out of 10.
What was it about the game's artwork that attracted you to it then? Was it that it was so distinctive?
I mean, yeah, maybe this is as good as shadow dropping. Yeah, it does stand out. What I try and play games. I think it's very interesting when you find a game that's been out for a while and has like 72 positive reviews. That's kind of a sweet spot of enough people have found this and really, really liked it, but it hasn't blown up, right? And so when I see something like that, and it's in a genre I like, I usually end up playing it. And so Altered had been on my list for a while. This one hadn't, but I would encourage people who enjoy that sort of thing to give it a shot.
Good stuff.
We've got a minute to kill, Simon. Any other business?
Who's been running the Maraoke Twitter recently?
It's been fantastic, hasn't it? That is, I assume, Maraoke's new intern, but I don't know who that is.
Wow, look at the size of the empire that you don't know who the staff are.
I don't know these days, but it's fantastic work. We will be doing a Maraoke gig in Sweden on the 24th of February, so let us know if you are around then, and maybe we'll be able to say hello. And we'll also be doing a gig in February in London on the 19th, if that's a Saturday. If it's not, then it's one of the days around that. I think it's the 19th. Anyway, that'll be at Peckham Loading, so if you're in London, come along to that.
That minute just flew by, Steve.
It did, didn't it? Right, we've been One Life Left, radio show about video games. If you want to find us on the internet, you can find us at www.onelifeleft.com. Thank you so much to Resonance FM. You continue to be the greatest radio station in the world. Stay tuned to them. But until next week, we've been One Life Left. Goodbye!
Goodbye!